What's up, guys? This is J.K. Whitehead from the Baseball Rebellion, here to bring you the Tuesday breakdown of the week. And today I've jumped back to present time and went for the batting title guy, DJ LeMahieu from the Colorado Rockies. 28-year-old sensation. Had a great year. A little bit under the radar, I think, as far as just a guy that you heard of a lot, unless you were a pretty big Rockies fan, of course. But posted up a 348 batting average, 32 doubles, 11 home runs. So as far as like the power goes, the doubles are impressive, and the home runs are they are what they are. I mean, he's a second baseman, third baseman guy, a big guy, 6'3". 200 some pounds, give or take. But overall, what a great year, and he's only gotten better. He was drafted by the Cubs in 2009, and I'll post a link with all this kind of stuff at the bottom here as usual. But he just had been getting better every year, and I just think more and more at bats really helps guys, and that's something we don't talk about a lot. A lot of these guys, these fringe guys that get in for a year or two in the big leagues only get 90, 100 at bats. Is a big disadvantage. The guys are getting 500 plus at bats, and so the more at bats this guy's gotten, he's only gotten better. And all right, so here we go. So this is a front view, and this is actually kind of hard to get video of him. Actually, a little bit harder than I thought it would be. But this is a front view, real quick. I'll just go ahead and play it all the way through. This is actually one of his home runs this year, and it goes right to the side view next. So I'll go ahead and show that. Here we go. Okay, so. From a swing standpoint, I mean, obviously he's really good, and so I like a lot what he does already. These guys, and we break down somebody every week. You got to remember, these guys are there for a reason, and bad swings don't last at that level. And you're definitely not hitting 348 with a bad swing over the course of the year, especially with the pitchers he's facing day in and day out. Kind of different styles and maybe approaches and ways they kind of look at the beginning, maybe the end can be something that helps each individual that may read or come to our website. But he does a lot of good things, and the thing that really, I guess, when I watched a lot of his swings, he was very pesky. Obviously, he didn't have the 30 home run year like more of your prolific power guys will have, but he was very pesky. And one of the reasons why I think he was very pesky is number one was his vision was excellent almost every swing I saw, and number two, his barrel path was super long. He never really cut it off. He allows his barrel just to kind of release nicely. There isn't ever, or at least in the swings that I saw, and of course you're not going to get like the blooper swings that you're going to see the doubles and the home runs that he hits on these replays unless you're recording games live. But I didn't really see a lot of pushiness or any kind of cut-off swings. There's a lot of nice release, and of course that's towards the end of the swing. We're going to go ahead and get started now. In the beginning, and I like his stance, very, very basic, a little bit open. Looks a little bit taller from the front view when you see him than he is right here. But slightly out, outside hip, hip width right here. Goes through a nice kind of barrel movement that I really like in his stride, and then we'll get to more of that barrel stuff. But I like how in his move forward, and again, it's not a big move forward. Again, he's not that small. But I like his barrel tip here. Again, it's not overly aggressive. It's no Javi Baez from a year ago or anything like that. It's just nice and calm. Just lifts it up from where it starts. And you can see, guys, how the knob is facing the camera here just about, and how it goes into a more knob down to the catcher. So as long as you're getting to a position like this with your back elbow and barrel, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. And that's what I tell a lot of all of our players that work with us, is that how you start it can be mixed and matched. With leg kicks and strides and stances and where your bat is and things like that. But for a parent or a coach who might be watching this for the first time, as long as they get to a good place like this, then there's a good chance for success. With that front elbow bend that we see right here, elbow up in the back, because that elbow is going to get pulled. That elbow is going to get pulled by his hip rotation. So you're going to see him really open up, and then that aggressive turning of that gear is going to pull down his back shoulder, back elbow, okay, and then that pull down is going to pull the barrel down, and hopefully in a very succinct order, which allows him to hit forward or swing at maximum efficiency level, which is what we want to see. So as he goes forward, again, not the biggest stride because he starts kind of wide, but what he does nicely that I really like here is he allows his body to move without kind of the overly aggressive stride distance. Like you might see like a Javier Baez get, I'm just thinking of other second basemen who are super violent, of course, but obviously not striking out too much because of maybe some aggressiveness in some areas that he could probably tone down. But when he lands, once that foot enters the ground right here, we're going to see a nice head placement over the back hip, all right, over the back knee. And so that allows him to do is keep his head in a very stationary point. All right, so I'm going to put a box around his head, which is usually what we do here. If you see any hitting, breakdowns on the internet, you're going to see that box. And so what that box shows you is how his body rotates underneath his head at this point, and his head is in the exact same spot it was when his foot hits the ground. And that's essential for any young player who's maybe watching this. If your head is moving through foot landing and through your turn, then you're in trouble, because number one, your eye level is going to be changing. Number two, it's tough you can't get the bat behind the ball soon enough this way. If you watch as he rotates his hips open very nicely, again, head staying in the same place, you can see how his barrel, he's almost all the way open here, getting close to his chest being open. And you can see how his barrel is blurring, right? You can see that blur right here in the barrel. And that blur right there means the bat is speeding up. And then as he rotates now, you don't even see really the ball in the picture yet, but you can see how his bat's starting to work back uphill right about here, and that means it's in the way of the ball. So it's in between the catcher's mitt, which is obviously right here, and the ball that is somewhere out here, and he's being able to work his barrel behind the ball, and that's where he is right here. And again, this is what you see in guys with really high averages, is this really long bat path that works nicely behind him in the catcher's mitt, in the way of the catcher's mitt, and obviously behind the ball and up through it. And you can see as he goes to contact, he then follows contact for a little while the same way the ball was exited. Now he got him this one a little bit, which is why I think he got it out, but you can see that nice long release he has with his arms. Both arms are straight, but both arms are straight away from him this way, not towards the camera, what you see a lot of kids do, which would be known as casting for the most part. And that's where you got to teach them upper body mechanics, keeping that, trying to keep your elbows bent for as long as you can and not let them get away from you too soon. But he does a good job of kind of stopping and letting the barrel momentum that he created back here. This is what I call phase one in the swing. If you've read any more articles, you know that this flail phase or this acceleration phase back here is super important. If you make mistakes back here, this would be considered early in the swing back here. And as the bat and his shoulders turned about here, this would be, the main maintenance part, the maintaining of the energy, and then out here is the release. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3. So if you mess up in 1, there's a good chance you're messing up in 2 and 3. But as he continues to rotate, get to the ball, head hasn't moved. We got the nice turn. You can clearly see the side of his pants. Got the nice heel up in the back. Back foot moves a little bit. You can still see it move a little bit. Not super, not a big back foot movement here, and that's okay. Again, he's a big man. As he releases up through the ball, you can clearly see him continue to rotate his shoulders. He doesn't stop. And this is something, I have a lot of conversations with parents. And, this is, and I get video from games and stuff. And a lot of the kids are getting closer, but a lot of the kids don't take full rotation swings. And I just think because there's this big urgency to run the first base, that doesn't need to be there. If we teach our kids to take full swings, hit the ball hard first, run second. And, I think you'll see a lot more and more kids finishing like this, where you can, if you're in the first base dugout, you can read their last name, you can read their number, you can see the back pocket of his pants, you can see the, all the stuff on his back, and of course, really allowing the kids to swing with freedom and the, fearless swing that we want to see more. And I think it's a lot more fun to play like that. A lot of kids play with a lot of fear that they'll mess up, and then that fear only allows, fearful swings. And so we want to get the kids to really open up and let their swing work, just like you see him doing here. And again, that peskiness, I think, comes from obviously his ability to rotate his hips, pull the elbow down and the shoulder down from that gear, so the hips being the first gear, shoulders being the second gear, and then the hands being the last gear at the end. But getting the bat in a place where he could be late and hit it right now, he could be on time and hit it, pretty much on time right here, and maybe slightly early, because you can see some extension happening right here, some release, and still be successful. And if you talk to any pitcher, the hardest guys to get out are the ones that just somehow find a way to get the barrel on it, even when they're early, even when they're late. And he seems to do that on just about every swing that I saw, regardless of whether it was a single or a double. Or a home run, which obviously wasn't that many, but obviously getting the barrel in the way enough to hit 348 with 500 at-bats, 500 plus at-bats this year with very minimal strikeouts. I want to say around 30 strikeouts, but I'll let you guys go ahead and look that up. DJ LeMahieu, keep an eye on him next year. Rockies fans got a lot to be happy about. Obviously, they lost Tulowitzki, recently, and then that probably still stings a little bit, but this guy's going to be good. Hopefully they hold on to him. It's funny enough that he was drafted by the Cubs, and the Cubs didn't hold on to him. But I guess they're feeling okay right now about their chances to keep winning games. They obviously got a young group of studs right there. But again, just paying attention to DJ's ability to turn behind the ball. There is zero forwardness through his turn. No leaking forward. Head stays in the same place, right on that pivot point, rotating around it. Everything's staying the same. Front leg extend, really pushing back. Back hip and knee pulling forward, all the stuff that we want to see from the back heel. So obviously there for a reason. Hope you guys enjoyed his swing. Again, I'll play it one more time all the way through. And rotates, bam, behind the ball, lets his barrel go out nice and do the work. Once we accelerate the bat behind us, we just continue to turn and let the barrel do the work. So, keep an eye on him, guys, and I appreciate you following us. And go ahead and look at these guys' stats. They're pretty good, and I think he'll be around for a long time. Thanks, guys.